I'm Mayor Jen, and welcome to a special episode of the Melrose Minute, where we bring you news you can use from City Hall. And today, I'm especially thrilled to be joined by two former mayors of Melrose, former Mayor Dick Lyons and former Mayor Gail Infurna. Thank you for being here.
A pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you both have given so much to the city of Melrose, for which I and so many are grateful. And I'm really thrilled that you took the time today to join me to have a conversation about budgets and overrides and what it's like to lead the city that we all love. So I want to turn it over to both of you just to share a little bit about what you want to tell our community at this important moment.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. I think it's a very, very important issue. As you know, I grew up in Melrose. I went to Lincoln School, not with Abe, but after Abe Lincoln. And I went through the Melrose school system, and my father had a business in Melrose. And of course, when father has a business in Melrose, you work in Melrose. So I worked my whole life. And then when I went to college, I came back from college. I was happy to move back to Melrose because Melrose has always been, it still is, a great community. And I knew for a while that the city at that time was starting to experience some downward things happening, not being able to afford things. So I decided I would run for mayor. And fortunately, I won. It was a great honor to win. But it wasn't a great honor when I got to my desk and found out we had no money. And when I say no money, I really mean no money. We didn't have money to buy shades for the City Hall windows. Some people in Melrose volunteered to get a fundraiser to get shades for the windows. It sounds almost impossible. But yet when we started the override, the common question to me was, I know you have the money. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I didn't run to be mayor. I don't think you guys ran to be mayor so you had money. You're not going to lie to the public. You live here. We pay taxes. We pay the same as the city. Mm-hmm. Gasoline isn't free to the city. So the override was so critical, and we had so many people that volunteered their blood, really, to pass that override, and it saved the city. It literally saved the city. Some people may still not believe it, but it did. And the city really, because of that, and because of some other innovations we were able to accomplish, the city prospered for a lot of years. Melrose won the best city in the country for living for a period. Didn't do that because we had it. It was. And now I think we're in the same situation. And the reason I'm here, and I'm glad you invited me, is to say to people, we're back there again. If we don't pass this override, money is not going to appear in your desk, in your drawer. So I just wanted to get that out because it's a critical element that's happening in this city at this time. And we have an opportunity now. We really do have an opportunity to change that. And I hope that people understand that it's really up to them. We have to change it. And that's why, again, I'm here to try to get some people who may still remember me to vote there in favor of the override. So, Mayor, you might have something to add to that.
Well, I do remember you, Dick, because you know what? I was here back in '92 and helping on the override campaign back then. But I have kind of a little different story than Dick because I did not grow up here in Melrose. But I did sit on the Board of Aldermen for 20 years. And when the opportunity came up to kind of think of filling in for the mayor for the 2 years, it was kind of like, okay. And when I was doing it, and I only had 3 weeks to campaign, in a sense, to kind of get my point out there, what I wanted to do, I knew we needed the override. And I knew since I wasn't going to run again, so that I knew it was going to be, okay, I'm the one that's going to have to be gutsy and make this an override to save the city because, yes, you're absolutely right. We needed it then because it had been since 1992, and what was that? That was in 2019. So that's a lot of years. And so we did need it, and this affects everybody in the community. It doesn't matter whether you're young, whether you're married or not, whether you have children or not, or whether you're lived here all your life or you're a newcomer here. This is your community now that you live in, and you know there's pieces of that budget that affect everybody, and it is about what kind of a community we want to be.
No question about it.
Yeah, I think, first of all, thank you both so much for being here and for always being so willing to talk through all things Melrose. I'm so grateful for that. I sit in that desk probably at the same piece of furniture you both did and think a lot about those that, you know, had this great honor before me and that we're all just trying to build on the hard decisions and investments that people made in this community. And that's really what it's about, is continuing to protect Melrose and build on this very wonderful, precious, special community that we've had and so many people have helped to create. So I think about that a lot. And also to hear you both talk about what the impact of that was like when you were leading, to sort of see the community really decide to take control of its own destiny. And I think that's the moment that we're at again. And I'm really hopeful that folks can see it's not just about who's here now that matters, but it's about all the work that's been done and all the hard decisions up until now that have, helped make Melrose. And I think, Mayor Lyons, you raised such a good point about the fundraiser for Shades. This is a community that is constantly stepping up to the plate to help, the band and the football team and all those things. So great.
Which is a wonderful thing. And
Absolutely.
It certainly has added to Melrose and whatnot, but you can't balance a budget on that.
Not enough, right?
No,
And
you can't, keep up with the inflation. It is not a management problem. We said that back in 2019. I'm sure you said it back in 1992. And, you could say it now. It's not a management problem. It really is. The math just doesn't work with inflation.
Yes, I think that's very true. And with making sure we can continue to have teachers and firefighters and police officers and health insurance for our retirees and pensions that are funded, there's really important things that are really impacting people who live and work in our community and have served our community.
If you think about it, in the way of running a household, the price of gasoline goes up, the price of paper goods goes up. The city has to pay for that. It isn't free because we get 2.5% and the price of paper products goes up 10%, you're automatically in the hole. And if people think of it as that on that basis, that the money just doesn't, the 2.5 doesn't pay for the cost of doing business. It just doesn't. And so something has to fill that hole. And unfortunately, nobody wants to spend more money. I mean, I don't want to pay more taxes. I don't think you do. But sometimes you have to look back and say, that's the cost of having a city like Melrose.
Right. And I think, when Proposition 2.5 got passed, they made this override piece to it for communities just like us. Bedroom communities that through the years is going to need a little boost in that 2.5 because the math isn't going to work with the inflation. So here we are.
Yep, we're at that point again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think the other option is, to have Route 1 or have the Burlington Mall, and I think that's so not what people want Melrose
I went
to
to a coffee for the override, and one of the first questions I asked was, what do you like about Melrose? And it was those things that came up. And then it was kind of like, okay, now let's flip that.
Right, yes.
You know what? We have to take ownership of that and help everybody out with this. So
absolutely. And how do we preserve this community that we all love? And I think I don't think we can expect the federal government or the state government to come to our rescue, right? No. We've got to do it for ourselves, and you both have seen that in action. Anything else you'd like to share?
I want to mention something we talked about. I think there's still, our office is doing it now, and I think it has to be said, is looking for ways in the future to continue finding ways to pay for pieces of it. You're not going to pay for the override, but things that can be done. We had, let's say, we had a lot of land, not a lot, but we had land available. It was tax title land. It was the city got no revenue for it at that time. So we formed a committee and we got the tax title and we sold the land. We didn't get a lot of money for it, but whatever it was went into the general fund and offset some of it. And I know your office is doing the same thing. It may be less and less opportunity, but you keep looking for ways to pay the city's portion so that there won't be such a great increase whenever possible. And I know you're doing that.
Thank you. Yes, we're trying really hard to, be as cost conscious as we can be. Right. And I think, again, there's been so many things that have been done before my time going into the GIC for health insurance, a lot of things to lower costs. And there are fewer and fewer options, but, we are aggressively looking at, fees that are paid by developers and outside entities when they want to come and do business with Melrose, to have that be a way to offset the burden on residents. And then we're also recognizing that we can't bring back everything that we've lost, that some of that is just not sustainable. And so I think we've tried to create options for the community with the 3 different tiers of the override where people can tell us, where they want to be as a community. Obviously, the largest dollar amount would allow us to bring back some of what we've lost, 17 positions in the schools, our 2 police officers, our DPW staff that we've lost, but but we're not bringing back everything that's been removed in the past 2 years to close the budget gap. And so I think and I know for some folks that's hard to swallow, but I also think it's really trying to show that we're being fiscally responsible, that we want at any level, A, B, or C, we're able to move forward, we think, through 2030 with sustaining what we have. And I think that's also what folks really want to hear from us, is that there's a plan to not have to continue to be in this cycle of cuts year over year. And I think we owe that to the public.
I'm glad you say. I think that's very, very important too. I really do.
Yeah.
That it's the average person. See, you're not just asking for a handout. It's something that you're concerned with every single day. And I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we want to make sure that people can feel that with some confidence, barring the unexpected, that we can maintain what we have and hopefully bring back more at those higher level options, but that it will be sustainable for the next, 4 years, so that folks can know we're kind of good, and that people can maybe start to focus on the other things in their life, which is what I think most people want government to do, is to just work so that they can focus on their family, their job, their kids' soccer game, and not have to worry about what the cuts are going to look like in their community each year.
Right.
Okay, one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like you to say to the people, get out and vote, because this is a very important issue. I have a feeling the people who are looking at this program, watching the program, may have a better understanding of what we want to do. And I think with your assistance in getting out and vote, if they don't get out and vote, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely. We need folks. Local elections, I mean, you both know this, it's so impactful. Putting aside people's feelings about national politics right now and state politics, this is going to determine what happens in your community, your kids' school, your senior center, your veteran services office, your police and fire departments. This is your chance to tell your government what you want to see. It's so important. And folks can vote by mail, they can do early voting, and of course they can come on election day.
Right. So, I think it's very important to get all this information out for the month of September, because come October, people are going to start doing the mail-in voting and whatnot, so you want to make sure everybody really comes to the polls very informed as to whatever choices they're making. I think that's the hard part, is I still talk to people like, there's going to be an override on the ballot, or, and oh my gosh, it's like, what mushroom do you live underneath or something, So I think every platform that you can to get all the news around Melrose,
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of platforms. It's just a matter of, sometimes you can bring the horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yep.
And but I think we have to work hard to get all the information out there.
Absolutely. And I think as the person who gets to wake up every day with the privilege of currently being the mayor of this community, there's nothing more important than this decision for the future of our community. I think our current elected officials feel that way. I hope those that are considering being an elected official understand the impact this will have, and I am ready to do everything it takes to make sure people know what's at stake.
Because it's not about you and your administration. It's not about us. It's about the community.
Absolutely.
It's about the whole community. So I think that's really important.
And it's going to take all of us, because it's about all of us. I think that's really important. And that's why I'm so grateful that both of you are willing to give your time to this.
This has been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for being here.